Good morning. Welcome to the Miss Nina B Show, sharing insights, words of wisdom, and practical life tips. I'm your host, Miss Nina B. Abdul-Wakeel. So I'm doing another podcast from my car. Seems to be a common thing for me, which is pretty cool based on technology if you think about it. So today's topic, I want to ask the question, am I faking my faith? Am I faking my faith? There's been a lot of different things going on in my life over the past couple of weeks. And truly, I have a relationship with God. And I walk strongly in that in some times of my life and other times not so strongly. On Saturday, I had to take my son into D.C. I live in the Washington, D.C. metropolitan area. I personally don't like driving in D.C. It's just congested and, the streets and everything. It's just not one of the things that I enjoy doing. And I don't know my way around very well, so that really makes it even more challenging. So I rely heavily on my GPS. So in this day and time, a lot of people use their GPSs to get from point A to point B, and particularly where you don't know where you're going. So like a lot of other people, I programmed into my phone. I opened up my Google Maps app and I looked up the address where I had to go. And I relied on the GPS from Google Maps to guide me step by step along the way. Going into DC, I kind of was more familiar with going into DC and making my way into the particular zone that I had to go to up to a point. So when the GPS told me to kind of keep straight, I decided I wanted to turn and I was going to go over some more streets and down a different way. And as I was doing that, I felt myself getting anxious. Felt myself, although I was kind of familiar, not 100%, but I was clear that I had not followed the direction of the GPS. I decided to go on my own. And so I ultimately got to a point where I was like, I think I know where I am, but let me check the GPS and get back on track, which is ultimately what I did. And leaving our destination to head back home, I once again opened up the GPS, the Google Map app, and I followed its directions. Now, the interesting thing was it took us back a totally different way than the way it brought us. And I was like, I am not familiar with this area at all. I don't even know where I am. I didn't tell my son that, but he knew we were using the GPS, which is something we do. So it wasn't, it didn't concern him at all. We just were following the GPS. And in that process, we got to go through neighborhoods that I had never been in before, kind of cut down side streets and stuff like that. And I know one of the things about the GPS is it kind of calculates what's the best route to get to your destination at that point in time on that day based on what else is going on in the area. So if there's traffic and log jams and accidents, it has all that information. I don't have it. It has it. And it decides what would be an optimal route for you to go. As I thought about it, I was like, wow, this is just like our relationship with God. We rely on Him as our GPS. He has an awareness of so many different things that are going on in our world that we have absolutely no idea. So we can act like and pretend sometimes that we have faith in him. But it's like us starting up the GPS and then deciding to go a different route. Even though the GPS is telling us to go straight, we turn left or we turn right because we think we know, oh no, I know, I'm familiar with this area, I'm going to go this way. And we run into traffic, we run into construction, we run into challenges in our lives, we run into challenging people, all of those things. But when we truly, fully rely on the GPS, the God's positioning system, the God's protection system, then we don't have to be anxious. We just have to kind of go along and follow the directions. We may actually get to experience some new things that we've never seen before, we've never experienced before, and it enriches our lives. And so I know that recently I have not been relying on my GPS the way I should. I've been doing it when I get to a certain point and I'm not sure, but then I think I know what I'm doing. And so I move along a little further and run into some traffic or some challenges. And then I go back to my GPS. But I said, that's faking the faith, because faith is all about fully 100% relying on God, fully 100% relying on the GPS that he is in our lives. And so my challenge to myself is to really think about that every time I think I know where I'm going, what I should be doing. Am I following the GPS? Or did I decide I wanted to take a side route that I thought would get me there faster? So I don't know if you have found yourself in a time where you thought you were relying on the GPS, on God's positioning system or God's protection system, but you stepped out of alignment. You've decided to go your own way, and then you found yourself in a mess. And we found ourselves quickly going back to recalibrate. Well, the great thing about GPS systems and God is that wherever we are, he still knows where we are. He knows exactly where we are, whether we followed his directions or not. And just like GPS, recalibrates from where your current position is and gets you back on track and gets you moving in the right direction. So that's what I'm doing now. I'm moving in the right direction. I've realigned with the GPS. It knew exactly where I was, and it knows exactly where you are. Just rely on it. I hope this was insightful for someone else. It was meaningful for me, and I wanted to share it. Thank you, Nina B family. Don't forget to like me on Facebook and on Instagram, and check out my website, MissNinaBShow.com. And I'm going to be having another interview coming up, so I have more things in store for you. But I encourage you to rely on God, rely on his GPS to lead and guide you to your destination, to your destiny, to your dream. Remember, be encouraged, be empowered, walk boldly into your dream, because you are great.